I was stuck for ideas for a video. I hadn't travelled anywhere, I hadn't been to another sporting event, nor had I read any interesting books recently. A film review was the obvious choice, but nothing in the cinemas had any appeal to me. Then I remembered that I really haven't made enough use of my Amazon Prime subscription beyond watching Reacher and The Boys. So I had a little browse and found an Amazon MGM original release this year that had potential. It's called Play Dirty and is based on the Parker book series that has had previous adaptations starring actors such as Robert Duvall, Mel Gibson, and Jason Statham. This is an original story written by Shane Black. It's the story of a robbery gone wrong at a racecourse counting room. An employee intervenes, kills a robber, wounds Philly, played by Thomas Jane, and steals the money. After a chase, he's killed by Parker, played by Mark Wahlberg, and the robbers retrieve their loot. The getaway driver Zen, played by Rosa Salazar, betrays them, killing all but Parker, who jumps into a river to escape. After recovering in a motel, he promises Philly's wife, Grace, played by Gretchen Mol, to get revenge. After tracking Zen down with the help of Grotfield, played by Lakeith Stanfield, he finds out that she's invested all the stolen money into a job to rob an unnamed Latin American country. The corrupt president plans to display the treasures of a discovered shipwreck at the UN, but has hired a crime syndicate called the Outfit to steal it to sell to collectors and pocket the $1 billion. The Outfit is run by Lazzini, played by Tony Shalhoub, a crime boss who has a history with Parker. Zen plans to steal the treasure herself with the help of compatriot Colonel Ortiz on behalf of the fellow countrymen, but Parker suggests stealing from the Outfit once they have stolen from the UN. For the next hour and a half, we are treated to a steady burner of by-the-number set pieces, fight scenes, and an implausible plan to steal the treasure by engineering a runaway automated subway garbage train to crash safely that somehow doesn't cause massive property damage and doesn't risk anyone's lives. There's betrayal, stupid decisions, boring comedy, and characters that don't exactly set the world on fire. One of the team tries to betray Parker to the Outfit, but this goes wrong, and that's when Lazzini stupidly tells Parker that his plan has been moved up 24 hours as a way of getting ahead of Parker's own operation. The now rushed heist goes wrong in a manner that's supposed to be a combination of tension and slapstick, but feels more like a series of scenes that make me think, oh, that happened, fine. The train crashes in the middle of a densely populated residential area without killing anyone other than the goons on the train, and then there's a twist which makes the second half more interesting, but not much more. At the end, everything is nicely tied up for Parker and all the people of the unnamed country. It's open-ended in one respect, probably because they're thinking about a sequel and want to leave a certain aspect of it plausibly available if necessary. First of all, after a quick action-packed opening, we're treated to an opening sequence that is artistic in the old tradition of openings that aren't just an action scene or establishing shot with credits overlaid. It has a feel of a 60s or 70s crime caper opener, giving a hint or two of what's to come and not distracting the viewer from the action with the names of the cast and director of photography. The plot is fine, but its biggest weakness is the comedy. It's okay, but not particularly funny, and certainly not imaginative. There's a lot of casual murdering by the protagonist, whom I think is supposed to be some sort of lovable anti-hero, but comes across as a charmless and dull whiteboard of a character whose motivation is fine, but hardly compelling. And then there's the major twist that sets the plot fully in motion and leads to the ridiculously over-the-top action. It's one of those moments that is so stupid it's laughable on its own. Why did Lazzini tell Parker that he'd moved the heist by 24 hours? If he knew what Parker was doing, why not just keep quiet, steal the treasure early, and disappear? Maybe he could use Parker's inevitable failed plan to get the police looking for him. At that very least, they could arrest Parker for his numerous previous crimes. Lazzini would then have all that money from the treasure, and the problem of Parker would be out of the way for a long time. Yes, the twist at the end of the heist attempt should have led to Parker's arrest, but it would have been so much easier to just let him execute his original plan and have the police wait for him. I know it's nitpicking, but these sorts of insane decisions get on my nerves. Why can't writers think of more creative ways to get the action going? Why do they keep getting their characters to make really stupid decisions when everything would have gone their way had they just done nothing? It's irritating, especially in this movie, where the bad decision is so obvious that it gets you rolling your eyes in frustration. It feels like, in line with the title sequence, they're going for an old school heist caper. While there are action set pieces that are as ridiculous as they normally look these days, the tone and pace is somewhat more restrained than the usual modern equivalent. It's not boring as such. I was engaged enough and the 2-hour runtime didn't have me constantly checking the time, but it wasn't exactly exciting either. The performances, like most aspects of this movie, are just about fine. No one seemed particularly challenged or much interested. I can understand Wahlberg and Shalhoub not really giving it their all, but most of the cast aren't exactly well known, so one would have thought they would give a little bit more. Nobody was bad, they just weren't that great. The best thing about this is that it's on Prime, which means it's free. If I had paid for this, I would have been disappointed, but being free made it about as entertaining as those Hallmark style TV movies that Channel 5 loves showing. This isn't a bad film by any means, but it's not epic either. Did it really need Mark Wahlberg to bring in the viewers? I watched it because it was there, not because I'm a fan of the Friend of the Funky Bunch. All in all, it's a decent watch that definitely didn't need the expense of Mark Wahlberg and Tony Shalhoub to be watchable. It's a by the numbers heist movie with a couple of twists that do enough to keep the plot moving as much as it needs to. It's not sure if it's a dark comedy or gritty anti-hero flick, so it's not really either. You'll forget it pretty quickly, and if there is a sequel in the franchise, I doubt you'll even notice. Play Dirty plays it safe, and it's fine.